Simulan mong abutin ang iyong pangarap na magbibigay dangal sa iyong bukas. Ang suliranin, hindi laging nandyan, dapat mong harapin. Kami iyong kasama sa bawat takin, magkaakbay nating lulutasin. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ang boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ikaw lagi ang bida. Ang mga aral ay ginintuang atin ng bawat guro na siyang gagabay sa iyong pagkamulat. Naway umukit ito sa iyong isipan, maging mapanuri, sundin ng wasto at nararapat. Kagandahang asal ang ipakita, ipadama ang pusong may malasakit. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ang boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ikaw lagi ang bida. Sakali mang tayo'y subukin ng unos, ating haharapin ng walang takot. Sasamahan ka ni Fernan at Dino, ang bagong barkada mo. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, edukasyon mo'y sigurado na. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, edukasyon mo'y sigurado na.
Fernandino Teens TV.
Uy, Nan. Anong iniisip mo? At ba't ang layo naman ng tanaw mo?
Ano ka ba naman, Dino? Ginula mo naman ako. Bakit? Masama bang mag-isip ng malalim?
Hindi naman. Kaso parang masyado ka ng seryoso.
Ano ba yung iniisip mo, Nan?
Nag-iisip lang ako ng mga kung ano-anong tanong sa sarili ko. Gaya ng, ano ang halaga ng buhay ng tao sa mundo at bakit tayo nandirito? Naisip niyo rin ba yung mga yun?
Ang lalim naman nun, Nan. Ako nga, tinatanong ko lang ang isip ko kung bakit ang pizza nasa square na box. Pero kapag binuksan, circle. Pero kapag kinain naman, triangle.
Wow, Dino ang tindi naman ng iniisip mo. At sana, nasagot mo na yung mga katanungan mong yan.
Kayo at ang dami niyong kalokohan. Mabuti pa, atin nang tunghayan ang ating gurong tagapagdaloy ngayong araw para magbigay sa atin ng kaalaman sa mundo ng filosofiya. Tara! Let's watch and learn!
Today is another wonderful day. Do you agree? Of course. I think you will agree with me because this is a new day for all of us. And this is your chance to learn the subject, philosophy, with your teacher, Sir Maria Joseph Patrick M. Enriquez, or you can call me Sir Pat. So I am back on screen to teach another subject, and it is of course philosophy. And before you change the channel after hearing the subject, please hear me out and let me share to you the wonderful ideas in philosophy. As we are about to begin, let me first teach you the art colors in my discussion. It is just a simple following of instructions by doing the meaning of the following colors. We have the colors red, yellow, and green, and these colors will represent an action as we move along the discussion. I will be expecting your participation and cooperation. Let us begin with the color red. Red will mean you need to speak the word or phrase or the statement. Say it loud and proud, for this can help you retain important keywords in our discussion. Now, don't mind those people around you and just give them a nod and a thumbs up to show how serious you are in your learning. Good job. Next is the color yellow. Yellow represents reflection. Try pausing for a few seconds to absorb the idea and reflect on it. Visualize yourself and what you're going to do with these ideas. Now, I did not say memorize them. I said think about them, and you will understand what I mean as you reflect. Now, don't just overdo it, or you will be daydreaming the whole period. And lastly, when the font is green, prepare yourself and answer the questions I'm about to throw at you. Tell me what you think about it and share it in the comment section. Now, promise me to do it properly and act accordingly, because I know your answers came from within you, and what you are doing is sharing a piece of you. So I hope the colors red, yellow, and green will excite your senses, because we are about to enter the realm of philosophy. Let us begin by defining the word philosophy. According to philosophers, what is philosophy? What do we mean by it? Well, some would say that philosophy cannot be given a single definition in its strictest sense, because it is something dynamic, meaning it changes. It also came from different experiences, and since people have different experiences, it is really hard to give a single definition for philosophy. Having said that, I think I just made it more difficult for me to make you like philosophy. So, Direct, can we cut that? Okay. So let's just do it this way. We will define philosophy based on its etymological meaning. There you go. And when we say etymological meaning, we are going to define the term by looking at its origin. Philosophy came from two Greek words, philia and sophia. Philia means love, and sophia means wisdom. We put them both together, and we have love of wisdom. For our discussion, we will define philosophy as the love of wisdom. Period. You see, it is very simple and easy. Philosophy is the love of wisdom, but as we take this course, hopefully, we will be able to give a good definition for it. Now, let us try to talk about love, so we can be able to understand philosophy well. For the Greeks, they have different kinds of love, and the love used in philosophy is more of a companion or a friend. And the reason? Well, it's because wisdom never leaves us. When we are in trouble, a good friend comes in handy, and in philosophy, our wisdom is our friend. Someone who is always there for us, especially in times of need. The next question is, what about wisdom? What is wisdom? Is being intelligent or knowledgeable being wise? Do those terms mean the same thing? The answer is, wisdom is not just simply a collection of ideas or memorization of terms. Wisdom is usually gained through experiences. As human beings, we're able to accumulate experiences as we grow. But I hope as you grow old, you also grow up. You progress in life filled with a lot of experiences. So, our collective human experiences are the key ingredient to make us wise and to gain wisdom. Usually, they associate wisdom with the elderly. That's why they always say, we seek the wisdom of the old. Grown-ups are believed to be filled with experiences. That is why our parents and grandparents would always tell us, papunta ka pa lang, babalik na ako. It only means that they've been there, done that, so you better listen to them, young one. And we all know how the story goes. You never listen and prefer to commit the same mistake like what they have predicted. History teaches us a lesson, but people never learn and they wanted it to learn the hard way. Now, if you're fond of watching fables, where animals are the characters in the story, can you guess the animal they usually portrayed for wisdom or shows wisdom? Now, for those who answered owls, congratulations, you are correct. If what I'm referring to is knowledge, what I said is wisdom, and wisdom is portrayed by a turtle. Why turtles and not an owl, you may ask? Well, turtles are believed to have long lives, and like what we have said, the longer we live, the more experiences we gain. Let us also not forget how our national hero, Jose Rizal, made use of the character Piloso Potasio to represent a wise man in his novel. Remember Crisostomo Ibarra seeking advice from an old wise man, Piloso Potasio? But wait a minute. Does that mean we, the younger generation, cannot be wise until we get old? The answer is no. We can actually be wiser than adults when we are filled with experiences. I know someone who is very young, but he is considered the breadwinner of the family. Or there are many students who are able to live their lives alone without any parents. I am very sure these youth are brimming with experiences and ripened by time. So it seems you are still there listening. Let us have a short break, and in a while, let us have more philosophy, because philosophy is everywhere.
Ang Schools Division Office City of San Fernando, Pampanga ay kaisa ng Department of Education sa pagsasagawa ng mga proyekto at programa na tumutugon sa mga pangangailangan ng mga mag-aaral. Inilunsad ang Division Call Center for Tutors and Guidance Counselors upang magbigay ng educational at psychological assistance sa mga mag-aaral, magulang at stakeholders ng division. Kaya, kung may nais kayong itanong tungkol sa pag-aaral, maaaring magpadala ng mensahe sa Division Call Center for Tutors and Guidance Counselors Facebook page o tumawag sa mga numero na makikita sa ibaba ng inyong screen tuwing Lunes hanggang Biyernes sa ganap na alas 8 ng umaga hanggang alas 6 ng gabi. Maaari rin kayong sumangguni sa ating guidance counselors na nagbibigay ng guidance and counseling services. Lahat ng inyong ibabahagi ay mananatiling confidential. Ang nasabing programa ay nagsisilbing daan upang malaman ang feedbacks ng stakeholders para matulungan ang ating divisyon na mapagbuti pa ang mga sumusunod na programa. Ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Tumawag na sa aming mga numero o bumisita na sa aming Facebook page at magpadala ng inyong mga katanungan.
Fernandino Teens TV.
We are now back and you are still watching Fernandino Teens TV. I was able to introduce the subject philosophy a while ago, and we define it as the love of wisdom. As human beings, we accumulate our human experiences. These experiences are supposed to help us become wise on how to live our lives. You may not usually hear the word or use the word philosophy, but actually, it is something we do as humans. Doing philosophy is part of our lives. It is not just a collection of human experiences which talks about our past, but doing philosophy is about the present, the future. So you see, you are not just here to learn the subject, but to live your life with a philosophy. Hopefully, this can make you find meaning in life or make your lives worth living. Philosophy, as we have said, does not focus only on the past, but it also deals with your present, because that is what your outlook in life is. Philosophy presents to us our future because it tells us our direction. It paves our path to what we want to become. So when you think philosophy is something new to you, think again. Now, try going back to your elementary years for me and recall that notebook of secrets, the most precious property you can hold and consider to be the holiest piece of material you can ever acquire. That notebook is what you call slum book. As you answer that slum book, remember how you browse the pages of those before you in secret. And one of the oldest tricks you can pull, stalk your elementary crush by looking at their favorites. And how you copy your classmates' answer on the slum book if you are doubtful about the questions. Then there's this question which asks you about your philosophy in life. Nope, it's not about your favorite dish, nor it is about your first crush, but it is hidden in the question, what is your motto in life? And there you try to recall your classroom for overflowing inspiration, going back to your room and looking for the posted quotations on the wall which you were able to memorize throughout the school year. And with all seriousness, you will answer the slum book the question, what is your motto in life with time is gold or honesty is the best policy? Well, hopefully, that very intellectual motto in life that you wrote back then has changed by now. And I am confident that this time, it is not love is blind. Or is it? As I have said, we grow with experiences, and our philosophy grows with us. Maybe through time, we can forge better philosophies as we fight our own battles in life. Philosophy is also disguised in the vision and mission of organizations. They are building the foundation of their group with the use of their philosophical beliefs and principles. Philosophy is about envisioning yourself for who you want to be, and it's about accepting the challenges to make things happen. Philosophy is about our future as well. Like the Greeks, they had this same willingness to learn to be able to establish the truth they seek. Going back to the birthplace of philosophy in Greece, at first the early Greeks did not actually rely on philosophy. What they had back then was Greek mythology. The Greek mythology are stories of the Greek gods and goddesses and on how they interfere with the lives of the mortals. They are considered the reason for everything that is happening, especially those that cannot be explained. Every time the Greeks have questions about things, they consult their elders for any Greek mythology stories that can satisfy their curiosity. Let me share with you the story of Hades and Persephone. We all know Hades being the god of the underworld in Greek mythology, while Persephone is a beautiful mortal who loves to dance. And when she dances, flowers bloom, trees bear fruit, and the animals go out of their shelter to join Persephone. Everybody loves her, and our Prince Charming easily fell in love with her. Hades, being the god of the underworld, must have what he wants, and he wants to be with Persephone, so he snatched her and brought her to the underworld. Our poor Persephone was very sad. She misses her world and she can never dance again. Hades realized that Persephone was not happy, and he felt he needed to do something to make her happy again. So Hades made a deal with Persephone, and the deal goes like this. I will allow you to go back and dance at your heart's content for half of the year, but I will bring you back to the underworld and you will stay with me for the remaining half. So Persephone can enjoy dancing again, but only for half of the year, and that means the flowers bloom, trees bear fruit, and animals dance with her again. But after that, everything disappears. Like Persephone, she goes to the underworld while the world awaits her return again. This is not just a story about Hades and on how she kidnapped Persephone, but this is more of an answer to the question, why does seasons change? Spring and summer are only possible when Persephone is released from the underworld to dance, and with her absence, they experience fall and winter. So you see, Greek mythology was their answer to things that cannot be explained. But eventually, the Greeks started to depart from this kind of exploration of answers from Greek mythology. They realized they needed something more reliable, and that is the human reason. It was all started by our first Western philosopher, Thales. Thales of Miletus is considered as the father of philosophy because he tried to identify the main stuff the world is made of. He wanted to know what everything is made of. Imagine an individual from the ancient period asking this question and trying to answer it without any aid in any scientific or technological advancement. Unlike you, who is very worried about the question, what shall I watch next in Netflix? His answer was actually water. But we all know that everything is more than just water. In philosophy, most of the time the question is more important than the answers and on how they were able to arrive at their answer. Expect that in philosophy, the big questions will be tackled and sometimes you will face dead ends when you look for those answers. What is really important here is that you are able to pursue the truth and knowledge you wanted and that you never gave up on it. For in philosophy, we never stop wondering about things, and even if the cycle of question and answer continues, we never cease to question everything that marvels us. In philosophy, most of the topics are abstract meaning. They cannot be touched or seen, but they do exist in the mind and some can be manifested. Let's now talk about the different branches of philosophy. During the early times, classes were not held in classrooms. They move along the area and transfer from one place to another to talk about everything that fancies them. So imagine philosophy as one of the earliest subjects, and the topics are everything under the sun and even beyond the sun. Many areas or fields originated in philosophy. It was like the mothership where the different subjects came. Like for example, they will try to ask questions about knowledge, how we know things, and how we can acquire knowledge. As philosophers explored this idea, there were too many questions that they needed to answer. Through time, they realized they needed a separate discipline or subject for it, hence psychology. Imagine it this way. Before, when you were sick, you look for a family doctor, a doctor who knows about different illnesses. But as time passes by, there are too many illnesses, and a single doctor cannot cure everything. So we did specialization, where doctors focus on specific body parts or specific ailments. If you have problems with your teeth, you look for a dentist. If you have problems with your skin, you look for a dermatologist. And since philosophy is one of the oldest subjects, it was able to create new fields of discipline where they can specialize with that matter or topic. We now go to the different branches of philosophy. Let me give you a rundown of the list of some of the branches of philosophy and their meanings. We begin with metaphysics. This branch of philosophy focuses on reality and being. Next, we have epistemology. This branch of philosophy deals with knowledge. So we ask questions like, how do we gain knowledge? How do we know that we know? Then we have ethics, a branch of philosophy where some would call it moral philosophy that talks about what we ought to do as humans. And then we have the subject aesthetics, this branch of philosophy that talks about beauty. Who sets the criteria for beauty? Lastly, we have logic. Logic is the science of correct reasoning and is considered a tool in philosophy. If you compare it with the other branches, logic is a more of a way of thinking. That is why many philosophers are good at debates and dialogues. I think we will need to have a short break since I have already said so much about philosophy. More of this topic when Fernandino Teens TV Season 2 returns.
Maya pa oras kaya kayo, Fernandinos. Ako pala ay Elwin Arl Serrano ng City Tourism Office ng Ciudad San Fernando. Ngayong bulan na ini, pagmasusyan tayo ang National Heritage Month na ating temang Victory and Humanity, Upholding Filipino Heritage and Identity. Kambena nini, metong karang aktibidades na ng syudad, apin ng launching ng bayong Heritage Passport. Yung Heritage Passport, apin ng metong karing proyekto ng kaya katamong syudad, yung paminamuna ng Mayor Edwin D. Santiago. Anong nuka rin makalagelangan ding eganagan ng heritage sites, heritage structures, na akit tamo kin kay katamong heritage district. Makakaya daw din Kenny, ding importansya daw ding mapila na tradisyon, Kenny syudad, kalupa na ning pamangawang parol, ang poing pamangalesa. May awo siyang heritage passport, uling atin kang dapat gawan, anong nukaran puntalan mo lading at tsuking passport, at saka ka mag-selfie. Kay ba't kanta, palto making tourism office, at mamiyalang sticker ka rin ganang apuntulan mong lugar. At timong may ngari ang tutong passport. Balo mi ngeni, panahon na ini, etamo makain bisa lumal, uli na ning COVID-19 pandemic. Kaya naman kimbanwa nga ini, agkatan ko ding bikers tamo, edad 18 hanggang 50, imbis na lumaot kayo po, di na nyo lang dita ka oras di kaya katamong heritage structures, Kenny syudad. Anya naman karing mumunang 50 bikers ang makayari kaya katamong heritage passport, midinan lang premyong only San Fernando loot bag. Inggawan nyo mo bakit makapag-register, munta kayo mismo opisina na ng City Tourism, yung munisipyo, at saka kayo magdalang metong valid ID. Kabinan kaya kayong heritage passport, ating makasipit ang instruction nung nano pa ing dapat gawan. Anya naman ka rin hanggang kapadyakin, nanano ko pa, tara na!
Fernandino Teens TV.
You are still watching Fernandino Teens TV. So let us now continue our discussion about philosophy. As we have said, this subject is not just about defining philosophy. It is also doing philosophy or philosophizing. In philosophy, when we view things, we try to look at the whole picture. This is what we call holistic perspective. Holistic thinking means it considers large-scale patterns in systems, while partial thinking is focused on specific aspects of a situation. In philosophy, we wanted to have a holistic view to better understand the situation. These can be considered as looking at things in different perspectives. The moment we see the whole perspective or the different angles of something, you can easily understand what it is and why it is such. Let me give you an example. Can someone tell me the color of this paper? Can you please try again? Why do you keep saying it's red? This is very basic, and what I'm asking is just the color of this paper. Or maybe your screen has some color problems and it shows a different color. Let us try that again. Can you tell me the color that you see now? No, it's not blue. Is it that difficult? The color of this is red. Do you know why? It is simply because the color on this view is blue and the color on this side is red. So, let us try that once more. Can you tell me the color of this paper? Now, I can now agree with you that it is color blue because we both see blue from our perspective. I am not yet fully convinced that you understand what I'm saying. So let us try another example. Can you tell me what's being flashed on the screen? Okay. So some were saying they saw swirls, clouds, cotton. So let us leave it at that for a while. Let us now go to the next image. Can you please tell me what you see? Some said they saw curved lines, a sexy figure, and a basketball court. But after analyzing your answers, notice how you gave different answers for just these two pictures. This picture and this picture were interpreted differently. Now, that is not possible, right? So to figure things out, I needed to call out some friends to make sure everybody or everything's answered and nobody sleeps without an answer. We take a look at the first picture. For the first picture, I summoned my friend, a bird, and asked it about what it saw in the picture. The bird said it was a tree. Okay, thank you very much for answering this problem. For the second picture, I asked the help of another friend, my worm friend, not my worm from inside, but my friend who happened to be a worm. I asked my friend to tell me what he saw, and he said it was a tree. I believed him, so I guess it's a tree. So ladies and gentlemen, after consulting the animals, since they may have eaten their vegetables and became smarter, we now have our answers. For picture 1, it's a tree, and number 2 is also a tree. How is that even possible? So, in the bird's eye view, the tree looks like that. And from the worm's perspective, the tree looks like that. So are they correct? If you said yes, you are wrong. Again, because remember, the idea of a tree is not only the leaves and the branches. It includes the trunk and its roots as well. The bird and the worm must have a dialogue or look at each other's perspective to know and see the whole idea. Remember, the leaves and trunks put together make the tree. That is how you do philosophy. Holistic thinking gives you a bigger picture to be able to see the better picture. Before we end our topic in philosophy, let me introduce you to one of the greatest philosophers, especially in the Western world. It is my honor to introduce a brilliant thinker, and some would even consider him as the greatest philosopher. He is none other than Socrates. Socrates was from Greece and he lived during the ancient times. Socrates was famous because of his way of questioning things. He did not actually stop from asking questions because there are a lot of things to learn. He was considered the godfly of Greece, and by godfly I meant pangaw in Filipino. If that is the meaning of the word, it seems that Socrates had a bad reputation for giving him such a nickname. So why do you think they gave Socrates the nickname Godfly of Greece? Let us take a look at a godfly. Where do usually those bangaw? Many can be seen in garbage, and some are in farms pestering the farm animals. Socrates also likes to pester or disturb the Greeks with his questions, so that is the reason for the comparison. He asks questions up to the point people feel exasperated and annoyed at him. This is how Socrates draws ideas from the people. He asks them questions and allows them to explain and give an answer. Everything came from them because of his way of questioning. Socrates was even compared to his mother, who was a known midwife, meaning her mother helps women give birth. Both of them help people bring out something to this world. His mother assisted people to bring out a child, and Socrates brought out the ideas from men. The method being used by Socrates is called the Socratic method. It was named after him because of his manner of getting answers from people. Usually, Socrates looks for someone who knows a lot. He applauds them with his knowledge, and eventually, he shows them their flaws through his questioning, up to the point the person feels he knows nothing. But it does not end there, and this is the reason that made Socrates a great teacher. He never leaves you, and he assists you in your quest for knowledge. This is the Socratic method, where students try to gain knowledge by answering the questions thrown at them. So every time your teacher asks you questions, try drawing out ideas from within, and do not forget that your teacher serves as guides for you. Remember that spoon feeding of ideas is not anymore for young fertile minds like yours. Do what Socrates does. Never stop asking questions, even if you hit dead ends in your search for truth. Live how Socrates lived with his famous dictum, "The unexamined life is not worth living." We can always annoy others, but think about ourselves and your thirst for knowledge. Our curiosity about things is always there. Our continuous search for the truth will lead us to a more meaningful life. Socrates, on the other hand, was condemned to death for the same reason. He got into the nerves of the Greek politicians whom he questioned. They ordered him to drink hemlock poison as his punishment. On his very last moment in prison, his students were with him, giving his final lesson to them. Socrates' followers even actually planned an escape for him from his prison, but he preferred to accept his fate. He believed that if he joined them to escape the prison, he would be going against his teachings. Socrates died proud, fighting for what he believed was right and true. And his teachings, they were carried on by his students. That may be a sad ending, but let us review our discussion before you take the activity after our short break. We were able to define philosophy, which means love of wisdom. We also learned that wisdom can be gained through experience. Next, we also discussed the different branches of philosophy. They are metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, aesthetics, and logic. Aside from that, holistic thinking was also compared to partial thinking. And lastly, we heard the lessons from our philosopher, Socrates. We will be right back and wrap up things when Fernandino Teens TV Season 2 returns.
Hindi lamang sa larangan ng pangkabuhayan apektado ang maraming pamilyang Pilipino, kundi maging sa larangan ng pagkatuto ng bawat batang Pilipino. Inilunsad ng siyudad ng San Fernando ang programang Nurturing Environment and System for Thriving or NEST, isang education community pantry na naglalayon para sa isang malawakang pagtulong, paglantabay at paggabay na ang focus ay ang makapagbigay ng tulong at suporta sa ating mga mag-aaral sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng educational needs gaya na lamang ng school supplies, tutorial sessions, study tips, at iba pang mga pamamaraan na mas lalong makatutulong sa pag-angat ng ating edukasyon. Dahil hindi hadlang ang pandemya sa magandang kinabukasang naghihintay sa ating mga mag-aaral. Sino-sino nga ba ang mga kalahok sa programang ito? Sa pagtutulungan ng ating school administrators, guro, magulang, at iba pang mga miyembro ng ating komunidad gaya ng barangay officials at sangguniang kabataan ay siguradong magiging mas matagumpay ang programang ito. Paano nga ba ang magiging proseso ng naturang programa? Una, magkakaroon tayo ng isang Facebook group, ang Pampanga High School NEST Education Community Pantry na pangungunahan ng Educational Pantry Coordinator. Ang mga magulang, tagapangalaga at mga guro ay ia-add ng ating Educational Pantry members sa Facebook group na ito. Sa page na ito maaaring i-post ng mga magulang at tagapangalaga o sino mang miyembro ng Educational Pantry ang kanilang mga kahilingan o requests. Kailangan ding ilagay ang pangalan ng mag-aaral, grade at section para sa mas agarang aksyon. Oo nga pala, hindi lang requests ang pwedeng i-post. Pwede ring mag-post ang mga nais magbigay ng tulong o mga gustong mag-donate. Sabi nga nila, sharing is caring. Tandaan na ang Facebook group na ito ay pribado at posts na may kaugnayan lamang sa page na ito ang maaaprobahan. Mayroon din palang Google Form na ipamamahagi kung saan maaari nating isumite ang ating requests o kahilingan. Paano naman ang mga walang internet access sa bahay? Huwag mangamba dahil merong mga nakalaang drop boxes ang ating paaralan na kung saan maaaring ihulog ng mga magulang at tagapangalaga ang kanilang requests. Sa mga nais namang mag-donate ng school supplies, maaaring ilagay ang mga ito sa tabi ng drop boxes. Maaari ring mag-donate ng mga kagamitan o cash donation kaakibat ang pagsusumite ng deed of donation form. Pangalawa, mahalaga ang ugnayan ng mga guro at ng mga magulang o tagapangalaga sa programang ito. Gamit ang video calls o chats ay ipahahayag ng mga guro ang adhikain ng programang ito sa mga magulang o tagapangalaga. Maaari ring gawin ang orientation na ito ng face-to-face, kasabay ng schedule ng kuhanan ng mga module. Gaya ng nabanggit, hindi lamang mga bagay ang maaaring i-donate. Pwede ring mag-conduct ng tutorial session, study tips, at iba pang mga kagamitan sa pagkatuto gaya ng mga aklat o kaya ay gadgets. Ikatlo, ang requested needs ng ating mga magulang o tagapangalaga ay ililista ng ating NEST focal person. Ang mga coordinator naman ang mag-aayos ng mga ito. Ang advisors ng ating mga mag-aaral, guidance counselor, at iba pang mga guro ay ipaaalam sa ating mga magulang at tagapangalaga ang petsa at oras ng pamimigay ng requested needs na gaganapin sa paaralan. Sabi nga nila, it takes a village to raise a child. Kaya naman aktibo at iba yung pakikilahok ang inaasahan sa pagsasanib puwersa ng paaralan at barangay na siyang tutukoy sa pangangailangan ng bawat Fernandinong mag-aaral at kikilos upang matugunan ito sa tulong at suporta rin ng mga miyembro ng komunidad. Isang malawakang komunidad para sa isang produktibong educational community pantry ay tiyak na lilikha ng iba yung pagkilos upang maging mas magaan at madali ang pagkatuto ng bawat kabataang Fernandino. Kaya naman tandaan, magbigay ayon sa kakayahan, kumuha ayon sa pangangailangan.
Fernandino Teens TV.
And we are back and about to finish our lesson for today. Help me review our lesson in philosophy as you answer the following true or false questions. I am going to flash questions and I expect you to answer them by commenting true or false in our comment section. You are given some time to think of your answer, so please make sure think about them. After which, I will encapsulate the topic to give you the summary. Are you ready? Tara, let's G! I just wanted to say that because Fer, Nan, and Dino are my favorite and the best. So, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Kaganapang PHS TV. Enough with the unpaid advertisements. And let's now start with our first question. Question number 1. Philosophy can be defined as the love of knowledge. Is it true or false? The answer is false. Philosophy, from its etymological meaning, is love of wisdom. Philia means love and Sophia means wisdom. So we have love of wisdom. Knowledge is different from wisdom, because wisdom is not just knowing a lot of things, but it is gained through experiences. We do not just memorize information. We should know what to do with it. We can reflect on it and make meaning out of it. Next question. Wisdom is only for adults. True or false? So, if your answer is false, you got it right. Wisdom is gained through experiences, but it does not automatically make adults wise, or it doesn't always follow that the youth are not wise. I hope that as we grow old, we also grow up with experiences. We mentioned that even at an early age, the youth can become wise, especially those who are exposed to different experiences. You are by nature curious about a lot of things. but always make good judgments on when to jump into those experiences. The third question goes like this. Human experiences in philosophy is about our past, present, and future. What is your answer to this question? Of course, it is true. Philosophy does not only help us understand our past, but it also helps us reflect on our present, and definitely it gives us direction to our future. Do not forget that philosophy talks about our lives, so make the best out of it. And if I may quote Soren Kierkegaard, he said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." For the fourth question, ancient philosophers relied on Greek mythology to answer their question on things. What do you think is the answer? And the answer? False. Yes, that the early Greeks relied on mythology, but not the philosopher. The philosophers were the reason why the Greeks started to distance themselves from Greek mythology and started using their human reason to figure out a lot of things. Greek mythology remains stories of their gods and goddesses, but philosophy continues to seek for answers using the human mind. Remember, our capability to think and rationalize is the very reason why philosophy was given birth. We now go to number 5. How should I act and what ought to be done are questions in ethics. Answers, please. The correct answer is true. Ethics, also known as moral philosophy, deals with what is ought to be done. It means it is not just a simple way of knowing right from wrong, but it is doing what should be done, even if it means bending the rules and doing the ordinary. We also have metaphysics that deals with reality and being, epistemology that asks questions about knowledge, and aesthetics to understand the value of beauty. We are already halfway through, and let's move to number 6. The question is, logic is the science of correct reasoning. This is definitely true. Logic is another branch of philosophy that corrects us on how to converse with others and organize our own thoughts. It helps not only to win debates, but also to convey our thoughts in making good reasonings. Let us have number 7. Holistic thinking is focused on specific aspects of a situation. This is not the meaning of holistic thinking, but instead, this is the definition of partial thinking. So our answer is false. Holistic thinking refers to a perspective that considers large-scale patterns in systems. We can easily remember them by looking at their names. Whole for holistic, while part for partial. In philosophy, we prefer doing holistic thinking because it helps us understand the whole situation and can aid us in making better judgments. For number 8, the question is, looking at different perspectives will help you have a holistic view of life. The answer is true. When you're able to see different perspectives, you are able to gain a better understanding of things. Exchanging views can lead us to an extraordinary vision of the whole. Second to the last question, Socratic method is the process of drawing information from the person. What do you think is the answer? It is true. This method is used by Socrates to gather information by aiding the person to bring out ideas from within. The person uses the questions as a guide to be able to give us the knowledge we desire. And for the last question, it is not actually answerable by true or false, but this question is for you. The question is, how will you make your life more meaningful? I leave you with this hanging question for the subject philosophy, or even I, your philosophy teacher, cannot give you exact and specific answers for this. You need to go on and continue doing philosophy, for the true test is not really happening in school, but in real life. And here are the references used in this presentation. Thank you for giving me this chance to introduce philosophy, and I hope you learned a lot. Let me end with this quotation. It is good to know philosophy, but it is wise to do philosophy. Once again, I am Sir Maria Joseph Patrick M. Enriquez, your philosophy teacher in Pampanga High School. Thank you for watching Fernandino Teens TV Season 2. Alam mga pilosopo.
Ganun pala, no? Kaya naman pala natural sa atin ang mag-isip at magtaka sa mga bagay-bagay.
Oo nga, at idol ko na talaga si Sir dahil sa kanyang tinuro.
Kaya Fernandino Teens, palagi kayong tumutok sa Fernandino Teens TV Season 2 dahil mas maraming kaalaman ang hatid ng programang ito. Kaya naman, maraming salamat, Sir!
Isa na namang makabuluhang talakayan ng ating natunghayan, Fernandino Teens.
Samahan ninyo kaming muli sa pagtuklas ng bagong kaalaman dito lang sa
Fernandino
Teens
TV!
Season 2 na kung saan ang kabataang Fernandino ay angat sa angking talino.
Bagong umaga, yakapin mo ang bagong pag-asa. Simulan mong abutin ang iyong pangarap na magbibigay dangal sa iyong bukas. Ang suliranin, hindi laging nandyan, dapat mong harapin. Kami iyong kasama sa bawat takin, magkaakbay nating lulutasin. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ang boses mo ay mahalaga. Dito sa Fernandino Teens TV, ikaw lagi ang bida. Ang mga aral ay ginintuang atin ng bawat guro na siyang gagabay sa iyong pagkamulat. Naway umukit ito sa iyong isipan, maging mapanuri, sundin ng wasto